Mini drivers are all the rage today, but are they best for your game? Today we're going to find out exactly that in a Trackman test. We've got a mini driver and a 3-wood. We're going to compare them head to head. I'm joined by Jake Montgomery, master club fitter at Second Swing. Jake, mini drivers. It's been a big couple of years now for mini drivers. You've got the R7 quad. I've got a TaylorMade Qi35 3-wood. Just tell me first why mini drivers have kind of taken off here. What have you seen in your fittings that have been the big benefits for golfers?
Yeah, so most of them that I've sold have been to higher speed players. This is kind of a secondary off the tee club. Sometimes people are using it off the ground, but for most players, it's someone where they might have a 5-wood in the bag or a hybrid or even just a driving iron. That is kind of like their longest fairway to green club. And then this is really just an off the tee option because they're never going to have a longer distance than their 2-iron or 5-wood or whatever it might be. The other person I sell this a lot to is actually on the complete opposite other end of the spectrum, which is a slower swinger, where I can take this 13.5 degrees, set it to 15, and it gives them maximum air time. Or a traditional driver, I might be able to set it to 14 degrees, but they're still hitting it kind of lower on the face, getting higher spin rates, not quite as much distance. This, if I can get someone to consistently hit it just a little high on the face, it kills all the spin. Still launches really high, so that gets them a lot of carry distance. And then there are a few players where they don't hit their driver, they don't like their driver, but they hit through it off the tee a lot. Where this is something that's easier to turn over for them. Generally, they're a player that swings down at it and across on the ball. So that player, I'd be putting the weights more in the heel portion, setting the face closed, just trying to kill spin as much as I can, but really making sure that we're getting the right ball flight and we're starting it on the correct line.
So there are certain players that the mini driver can benefit, but not everybody, I guess.
No, I mean,
that's kind of what you're alluding to here.
Yes, I would say of those 3 categories of players that I described, it's maybe 20% of golfers that I see. So it's not something I'm putting in everyone's hand. It is definitely case by case, but there are definitely certain players out there that will benefit from it.
Okay, so today I'm going to hit a few with this 3-wood, and then we're going to put this shaft in the mini driver. We're going to do a little bit off the tee, a little bit off the turf. Knowing what you know about my game a little bit, what would you expect to see difference-wise in the numbers and the performance, mini driver versus 3-wood?
So I would expect to see a lot more carry from the 3-wood off the ground. I think that this still might have a longer total distance, but I think we're going to see more peak height, more spin, more descent angle from that 3-wood where it'd be a little better kind of coming off the ground into a green. I think that this is going to be much further off the tee though.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Well, we're going to find out here. So we've got Trackman set up. We got, I think I'm loose enough. I think I'm ready to swing.
All right, let's do it. Good strike there.
I guess it was off the heel.
Yeah, just a little.
Didn't feel like that.
Face is a little open too.
And the overcorrection. Though I will say with both of those, different strikes, but they're both plenty high.
Yeah. And we didn't see too much of a distance difference between the two either.
Hang with me here. Man, that's a lot of spin.
Yeah, so we're spinning on you a little bit. That's a good ball.
That was a little bit better. A little bit of a knuckle effect to that one, but let's see about that one. That one also felt a little low on the face. Yeah, that's.
Yep, spin jumped up a little more.
All right, I'll hit one more here.
Right. Good shot.
Okay, a little better. So what I'm curious about is because I had a couple that I hit pretty low on the face there. That does not bode well for hitting the mini driver off the deck because of, we talked about that, the depth of the club face there. So I really need that help hitting it low in the face like this, right?
Yeah, so I'll pull up our impact location here. It'd be good to compare them. So we're about 4 millimeters low and 4 millimeters in the heel.
Yeah.
I mean, for most players, I'm pretty happy with that grouping there. Now, at your speed, anything low and heely will tend to go more right and spin quite a bit. We saw that in our dispersion here. These are the ones that we kind of caught out in the heel.
Yeah.
It just really leaked on you. And the spin rate was maybe a fraction higher than I'd want it to be out of a 3-wood. Honestly, I love the descent angle.
Yeah.
I just don't love seeing the spin rate peak as high as it did on a couple of these up in the 4,000s. If I were truly fitting you for a fairway wood, I'd want something that's going to flatline that spin a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I am curious to see how that spin rate's going to differ going into the mini driver, because you will hit it a little lower in the face, but it is a lot stronger in loft as well.
Sure.
So I'm curious to see how that kind of counterbalances.
Well, I'll let you change out the club heads there.
Let's do it.
All right, let's see what happens here.
Definitely saw a ball speed jump.
Yeah, and see, that's where, like, we're going to, because I was already hitting my 3-wood low in the face, that's another one low in the face, and just getting the ball in the air enough is going to be the challenge here. Like, that was obviously only 62 feet. That one was better. Ball speed's up.
85 feet of height's pretty solid.
Yeah, that one felt a
270
lot
carry,
more
290.
centered.
Yeah. A little skinny.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I want to work on a windy day. I will say I am a little surprised that you're turning this over more than the 3-wood.
Yeah, that probably is a little backwards, isn't it?
Usually the bigger the club head gets, the harder it is to get it to turn over. I mean, that's why a lot of people do play this, like I said, as a mini, because shorter shaft, smaller head, it's easier to turn it over than a traditional driver. But I wouldn't say it's any easier to turn over than a 3-wood.
That one felt pretty good.
Yeah, that was caught great. Launched really well. Wow, 105 feet.
Well, it's like I've hit one or two good ones, but like the misses have been somewhat punishing.
It's not as forgiving off the ground for sure.
Just, I mean, yeah, I think it's harder to make good contact with the face.
It's also a lot harder to hit this off a mat than off of real ground.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, I'll hit driver off the deck, especially like if I'm playing a scramble or something like that, and I'm always taking a little bit of ground with that. To not be able to take any turf with this, it definitely makes it harder.
Well, I think there's a difference, too, in, like, the fairway conditions and the grass itself, too. Like, there are some firm fairways where it's, like, it's tough to get a club like this underneath it a little bit, whereas there's maybe some fairways that are a little bit more, maybe the wrong term, but lush or softer, where the club can kind of sit underneath the ball a little bit. So those things all matter a little bit when deciding if you're going to play a mini driver in your bag and you're going to use it off the deck. There's some ball speed. Wow. I just think I came a little over the top on that one with a closed club face, but that was maybe a little bit of mat before the ball, but yeah.
Got out there. Yes, I mean, your club head speed only went up about 1.5 miles, but your ball speed jumped about 5 miles an hour. Smash factor was higher. Again, it makes sense. A lot lower loft there. Spin rate dropped 800 RPMs. Your carry actually was a little further despite the height being significantly lower. A lot of that comes down to just the ball speed. It was traveling out there further, but you're going to really see the difference in the total. It's 19 yards longer.
Yeah.
If we pull up the dispersion here,
you can see how the difference in where those golf balls went to is pretty significant.
The R7 quad actually was a bit more consistent as far as dispersion goes. You were just turning it over a little bit. The fitter in me really wants to tweak a couple things on there and see if we can get that to starting a little bit more right, but I don't think we'll do that for this video. But I would say, honestly, from a fit standpoint, I'd like you in an R7 quad and then just getting you into more of a 5-wood number that's going to still cover that 270. Because, I mean, if we're hitting 270 with 3,800 spin, we could do that with a low spin 5-wood. And that would just give you a longer option, and we'll see how it performs off the tee. But I would say these numbers are encouraging to me, where if a player can get 3,000 RPMs of spin off of it, and when we hit it straight, it's 105 feet in the air, that to me is a green light all day. I'm not worried about that player being able to hit this off the ground, especially if they can do that off a mat.
Right.
I'm curious to see how the dispersion differs when you hit it off of a tee. I could see you hitting this even a little bit more left, as you're going to be swinging up at it more, which
Right.
can cause you to be a little bit more in to out. But we'll hit the 3-wood again. We'll hit the R7 and kind of see how they compare.
From I guess, obviously we talked about me specifically here with this test.
Yep.
From a general golfer perspective, I think there's just a quick conversation to have about the height and the launch and landing angle that the club off the turf was able to give me. And granted, there was a couple shots with that 3-wood, as you can see, that kind of went high and right. That maybe exaggerated it a little bit. But there's a very big difference in the spin, in that launch, in that landing angle, that height, that, to your point earlier, you predicted that the off-the-turf performance would benefit the fairway wood in those categories. And they certainly did. So someone without my speed, at least off the deck, it's probably for sure going to benefit them to use a traditional fairway wood with that shallower face to kind of launch it in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can really see it in dynamic loft. So that's how much loft is actually applied at impact.
Yeah.
The 3-wood had 15 degrees.
Wow.
That had 13.5. We went from 15 to 13 and 13.5 to 8.7.
Yeah.
So that explains why it's launching so much lower. You're delivering with a lot less loft. It's interesting, your club path actually got more neutral with the R7 quad. I think subconsciously you felt like you couldn't swing as in to out on it. You had to be a little bit more across on it to get the ball up in the air.
Interesting. Okay.
But no, yeah, I mean, it all checks out to about what I was expecting to see. I mean, the land angle is very significantly different. It's 43.8 compared to 31.7. I mean, Dad, if I go to
it's
ball flight here.
And I think it's worth noting,
3-wood.
my misses with each were extremely different. Where
Yes.
there was the low left with the R7 quad, the mini driver was kind of my miss with it off the deck, and then my miss with the 3-wood was kind of this high right spinner.
Yep.
So I think, to your point, there's probably something in between, whether it's opening the face of this or, I do play something loft-wise in between them off the deck right now with a 3-wood. So maybe that's part of it. But we'll see off the tee. I don't know. We'll see how it performs here.
I like that start line better. Yeah.
Yep. And it is worth noting, you mentioned, what you would do as a fitter to maybe adjust it. And I think you were suggesting opening the face if you could or something.
Yeah, moving the weight more in the toe as well.
Weight. My driver is kind of lower lofted, but also the face a little open.
Yep.
So to kind of combat my tendency there. So we'll see how that goes. But that's a good first one.
Good ball.
Oh, it's spun a little more, but it's the same exact trajectory.
Fairway
basically.
finder.
Okay, we'll see if that one comes back. It was a little bit more high on the toe. Okay. Leaked a little bit to the right. Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
My tendencies aren't really matching up with what you would expect, huh?
No.
Off the tee. I think there's something with me off the tee where there's probably, my face angle, I think, if you were to look, is probably a lot more open.
You are definitely fighting the draw with your hands.
Yeah. Oh, that was hit well.
Yeah, it was. Beautiful.
So we have 4 that are probably pretty darn close to each other out there, and then the 2 that kind of hung right.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good consistency right there. I mean, you have the speed for a player that's going to use this as an off-the-tee club because it's bang on 300 yards. Your driver's typically around 315, right?
Yeah, about.
Yes, I mean, if you're on a narrower hole where you still want to get something out there pretty good, this would be a club that you absolutely could pull out. I mean, these are 43 feet right of center line. Anything inside of that there. We had a couple pushes that were 140. But, I mean, even on most golf courses, we're still finding that golf ball. That's not a real tee. The spin rate in your launch angle is honestly kind of what I try and get out of most people's drivers. So if this really was performing like a driver, you're just swinging it a little bit slower because that shaft is shorter.
Yeah.
You're not hurting for ball speed. You're at a 149 there. Peak height's at 100 feet. Landing was at 37. I mean, as far as off the tee, this checks every box.
Okay. Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
I mean, it feels good. It feels like like a more controllable driver.
Yes.
Is essentially what it feels like. even, again, one of those in particular on the right really felt like a high toe. Like I was really kind of scared of where it was going to end up. And again, it's not a perfect shot by any means, but to your point, on most golf holes, I will be in play or I'll be able to find it.
Yep.
Not too much damage. And then to see the other 4 on almost the exact same line is, pretty encouraging, I would say.
Yeah.
So again, I think this club off the tee is it's gonna be a good club for a lot of players to use. They will hit the ball pretty straight off the tee. It's gonna be a little shorter than their driver.
Yep.
But if it's something that they feel like they can benefit from, whether it's maybe they play a course where there's a certain few holes out there where they the driver might just be a little too far. There's a bunker out there that's right where their driver would roll out to.
Yep.
That's where a mini driver could really help them if they feel like it's worth it to have it in the bag versus a 3-wood, for example.
For sure.
So, all right, let's hit the 3-wood off the tee, and we'll see exactly how different that is versus the mini driver.
Let's do it. Okay, a little left on you.
A little bit left.
Hammered it. 151 smash factor.
It felt like, I just felt like I had closed the face a little bit on that, but I got to think of it as a driver, right?
Yep.
Start it to the right a little bit.
Does the smaller head feel more or less confidence inspiring?
A little less.
Yeah.
I think I'm feeling a little more confident off a tee.
Yep.
With that ball teed up a little bit with the bigger club head. I think naturally that for anybody, it's just going to be, the mini driver is going to be a little bit more confidence inspiring for at least a tee shot. All right, that one felt
That was pretty good.
like a better starting line. Yep.
Yeah. It's a lot of distance from a 3-wood. Great ball speed.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
I'm kind of in my head trying to remember what all the numbers were with the mini driver. I know obviously a little bit more speed and distance just by, I think, A, the club head size, but B, the loft.
Yes, the spin rate is definitely still higher with the 3-wood. The mini was actually launching a little bit higher, but it was spinning lower, which is just better for total distance launch conditions.
Right. All right, that was maybe a slight miss off the high toe again, but it's going to work.
Yeah, it did. Knuckled the spin a lot more.
Yeah. It's another slight miss, but I think it's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, a little high toe, so we saw the spin come down a little bit more.
So, okay, we've got some things to look at here numbers-wise. I think we decided off the deck, I was actually hitting the R7 quad personally a little bit better.
Yep.
But I think we also noticed there was a very big difference there in that launch and spin, right? Those differences almost are gone completely in the launch, spin, height department when we hit off the tee, at least for me. Because, look at the spin is nearly identical. Launch and landing angle are very close. Height is very close. So I think, the difference really off the tee is just 5-6 yards.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at the difference in the spin rate. With the 3-wood, you were down 0.2 degrees. You were getting 2,700 spin, about 270 carry. With the mini, you were up 2.1 degrees.
Yeah.
Your spin rate was fractionally lower, about 100 RPMs, and your carry was only 5 yards longer.
Right.
Typically, if a player switches from down 0.2 to up 2, we're going to see a pretty significant distance change, especially off a tee. But you just hit the 3-wood very efficiently. It didn't overspin. You high-toed it just slightly.
Yeah, it could be hit location helping with that as well.
So we were 6 millimeters on the toe and 4 millimeters up. It's actually the exact inverse of off the ground. So that explains why we're seeing such a difference in the launch and the spin rate there. But your consistency with it again was very, very tight. Just that little kind of push draw there. We had one miss where we just really shut our hands on it. But both options would be really good for you. I love the launch conditions off the tee of both of these clubs. What would you say, having just hit them, you felt was the main difference?
So the main difference was I think loft is playing a big difference off the deck.
Yes.
A huge difference where I was able to, with a shallower face, lower center of gravity, and the loft as well. And again, I hit a couple a little bit towards the heel side as well with the 3-wood, but that spin, that height is able to generate more of it off the deck, or excuse me, with the mini driver off the deck. It's just so much tougher to hit the ball in the right and in the correct location.
Yeah.
And if you miss it low on the face, it's just going to be this low launch. You're not going to get nearly the distance that you want. So that to me, is a big conversation to this. And it's one thing you mentioned right away too, or asked me, was, are you going to use this off the deck?
Yeah.
Because that might, for a lot of players, they put a mini driver in the bag, they didn't even consider it off the deck. Off the tee, to me, I was able to step up to it and just, it felt confidence-wise, I swung it more like a driver. I mean, you could even see my attack angle. It's a 2-degree difference, and it just, because I was teeing it up a little bit higher, the club head's a little bit deeper, I think I just naturally, subconsciously felt like I could swing it more like I would with a driver. And I think the results, in terms of the maybe slightly lower spin, maybe spoke to how that played out.
Yep.
So it's, I guess from that perspective, I didn't want to ask you if you've, done a comparison like this in a fitting where someone's deciding to take a mini driver off the tee compared to their 3-wood. Is this the kind of numbers you would anticipate? Would you expect a bigger difference there from 3-wood to mini driver most times?
I would say everything up until you hitting the 3-wood off the tee, I expected.
Okay.
The spin rates, the launch angles all matched up to what I was seeing. I was still expecting the Qi35 to be 32, 3,300 spin, where that's going closer to 280.
Yeah.
For you, honestly, if that's the kind of launch conditions you're going to get off of a 3-wood on a tee,
Yeah.
I don't think you need to play a mini because you're getting just as much distance out of it. Dispersion wasn't necessarily any tighter with one or the other. I think that just off the ground, fine-tuning a little bit, the performance is going to be much better for you.
Okay.
So for you, I'd probably recommend sticking with a traditional 3-wood. Now, if your spin rate was higher, like I kind of expected it to be, and we have a secondary club that's still going 260, I think you could absolutely throw that in your bag and just have it be a fairway finder. But just from seeing the ball speed, launch, and spin out of that 3-wood, for you personally, I think I would just stay with the 3-wood.
And I like how 4 of those out of the 5 are they're in the same spot.
Yes.
So, but it's true, like, if I were to bring you my old Ping G425 LST 3-wood, I do still have it. The wear mark is, high toe.
Yep.
It's my tendency with my 3-wood off the tee. So that does check out. So that's kind of reassuring in a sense for me personally to see how this played out. But I think in terms of the larger conversation for golfers watching this, you're going to see, I think off the tee performance will probably be pretty similar with both clubs. Again, we talked about maybe a little bit more distance with the mini driver just based on loft, based on maybe a little bit more help on those mishits.
Yeah.
But off the deck is where it's really going to benefit to have a 3-wood. So that it's a conversation to have with your fitter. Maybe you go mini driver for 2 tee clubs and then it's a 5-wood.
Yep.
But if you're going to use your 3-wood or this second club in your bag off the deck, most likely 3-wood is going to be the play for that player.
Yeah. For 90% of the mini drivers that I've sold, they are strictly off the tee clubs.
Yeah.
I've sold a few to players that just generate so much launch and spin that honestly a mini kind of brought them back down to optimal, where they're really across on the ball, really open face, where they're just generating a ton of that loft, that dynamic loft I was talking about.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this is going to be an off the tee club for people where we're just trying to find more fairways, even trying to bring ball flight down a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this has been, I've learned a lot about my own game, and I think a lot of golfers too can take some of this and maybe relate it to their conversations they're going to have with a fitter about a mini driver and if they want to put one in the bag or not. So Jake, thanks for joining today, breaking down the data, setting me up with, setting me up here. This has been great. Golfers, mini driver. If you feel like you might want one for your bag, schedule a fitting. One of our fitters like Jake can dial you in, make sure that the mini driver you do play is fit for your swing. So thanks again, Jake. Appreciate it.
Happy to be here.